Hey there, here we are again, footy fans having footy fun with FootyFin, and gonna do a post on the other rugby code, Rugby Union. I did a few of these earlier in the year, and just quietly I'll probably do a few in a couple of months for this year's Rugby World Cup. But anyway, look, if you're more a rugby league fan or a fan of any other sporting code, or if you want to watch one game of rugby a year and you're an Australian, you probably want to choose, I would say, the Bledisloe Cup, where the Wallabies play the All Blacks, our cousins, our Kiwi cousins across the ditch. This has actually been going on for 120 years now. A great rivalry, although, look, have to say, for the last 20 years, when it comes to Bledisloe Cup, being a Wallabies fan and a Queenslander, I know what it's like to be a New South Wales Blues supporter during that golden era of the Maroons, starting in 2006, when the Maroons won, 11 from 12. The only difference being the Wallabies haven't won it 1 year in the middle of that. The New Zealanders have had it since 2003, the Bledisloe Cup. This year it's a two-game series, normally three in recent years. 2 games this year, a bit shorter due to the Rugby World Cup starting in September. So anyway, there's a bit of history for you. So look, it's no secret rugby in Australia is struggling at the moment. Crowds are down. The game isn't in a good state. It hasn't been managed well. There aren't good development pathways happening, which is a pity. In New Zealand, look, they've had their own struggles in the past couple of years, and 2022 was a pretty bad year in particular. And then in the past few years, they've had unprecedented losses at home to Ireland and Argentina. They've had losses to the Springboks. Their coach, Ian Foster, who always looks like he's just taken a Valium or a Xanax, by the way, has been under fire. His contract will end at the end of this year and after the World Cup regardless. Anyway, they seem to have hit a bit of a purple patch this month. They've had wins against Argentina in Argentina and against South Africa in New Zealand. Australia, of course, have got back Eddie Jones, who coached them around the 2003 World Cup. He coached them for a few years until 2005 when he was sacked. He's coached, assistant coach at South Africa when they won the World Cup in 2007, coached England to the Rugby World Cup final in 2019 where they were beaten by the Springboks. And look, for some reason or other, Rugby Australia has decided to put Eddie back, even though maybe his best days are behind him. I actually like him. He's pretty good value in press conferences and what have you. Gives off a bit of a snake oil salesman vibe at times, but a clever guy. But I do wonder, I do fear that his best days as a coach are behind him. Anyway, look, be that as it may, New Zealanders do fear Eddie because he's got a history against them, and he sort of seems to know how to get under their skin, even in press conferences this week. He's thrown a few barbs their way. He was coach of the Wallabies when they caused an upset win in the 2003 Rugby World Cup semi-final over New Zealand, and he was coach of England when they caused an upset over the All Blacks in the semi-final of the 2019 Rugby World Cup. So New Zealanders will be a bit wary about having Eddie back as a coach of the Wallabies. And this game's been played at the MCG, by the way. So what has happened in Bledisloe Cups typically over the last 10, 20 years is every few years the Wallabies do give the All Blacks a bit of a scare. And sometimes, you know, it might be a draw. Sometimes even the Wallabies will win. They last beat the All Blacks in 2020 in the final game. I think it was the fourth game of that year, bit of a dead rubber, but they did draw with them in game one of the same year in New Zealand. Anyway, look, who's going to win this one? For mine, it'll be a win to New Zealand. The other thing about Eddie at the moment is he's not showing all his cards, I don't think, with the Rugby World Cup only a couple of months away. He's mixing and matching selections, taking gambles, doing unorthodox, or sometimes playing players in not their primary positions. So look, I think he's just being a bit shifty and just experimenting a bit, not showing all his cards. He has picked a young fella called Carter Gordon at 5'8" for this one. This young fella has a stunning blonde mullet and originally hails from Nambour in southeast Queensland, but has played in Super Rugby with the Melbourne Rebels for several years. He's sort of throwing him into the fire at the deep end. If the fire was in the deep end, it'd go out. So let's just say he's throwing him in at the deep end. Likewise, doing the same with a couple of other fellas. So will these selection gambles pay off? It remains to be seen. But as far as I can see here, it'll be New Zealand to win this one, and probably fairly comfortably in the end. I'd like to be proven wrong. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for listening. That's your little bit of rugby union for this weekend. Try to catch a game Saturday night. Anyway, and other than that, enjoy your NRL as well. And until next time, catch you out by the corner post. See ya.